Have you ever joined a new project and thought, um, what do we do first? You're not alone. Today, I'll show you an easy path called the SDLC, which is Software Development Life Circle. It is like a map. I'll follow one example of how a worker asks for a laptop and see how that idea becomes a real tool people can use. My goal with you today is to make this super clear and very simple for you to understand. First, let's say, what does SDLC means in plain and simple language? SDLC stands for Software Development Life Cycle. It is the structured, repeatable process teams use to plan, build, test, release, and improve software so that it is reliably delivers business value. So let's anchor on a simple definition for the second time. SDLC is a process and not a single meeting or document. So think of it as a reliable playbook that takes an idea from a problem to a working solution and then keeps improving it after you launch. It is called a life circle because software isn't done when it is released. We keep learning from the users, fixing issues and adding features. So you see that this circle, even in Agile, Scrum, Kanban, or even in a hybrid setting, the names may change, but the core phases stays recognizable. So as a business analyst, my job or our job is to keep each step clear and connected. Define the problem, make requirements testable, ensure designs fit the goal, support the build with quick decisions, confirm quality through testing, enable a calm release, and measure results to guide improvement. In today's example, as I mentioned, it's going to be the laptop request portal. You're going to be watching the same SDSC reading turn a 5-day delay into about 2 days by following this process. Okay, so SDLC is not just a fancy way to say, um, uh, oh, we're going to do this thing from start to finish. It is a fancy way to say a step by step plan to make software check it works, share it with people, and keep making it better. Think of it like a recipe. Follow the steps in the recipe, and you are going to get a good result or a sweet, delicious meal. Here are the 6 steps that we're going to learn today, and there is one final step which I'm also going to be talking about. So, first step is to plan it. Write down what it should do. Then sketch how it's going to look and work. And then you build it. Then you test it. Then you release it. And then after you release it, you have to improve it. So I'm going to use one easy story the whole time. As I mentioned before, a worker opens a page and is asking for a laptop. Their boss says yes, and the IT gets it ready for them to pick up. So let us start at the beginning, which is planning. Planning means that we answer what problem are we solving. For us, people wait 5 days to get a work laptop. That is our current state, right? That is too slow. That is what we determine is too slow. It takes too long. Our goal now is to have them get the laptops within 2 days. So we're choosing what is in the project. A request form should be in the project because they have to request the laptop, right? A boss has to approve that they can get the laptop. a pickup time, and a setup checklist. So we list here who cares. The worker obviously cares because they want the laptop. Their boss cares because it's going to go towards the cost center of the department. And the IT team also cares because they are the one that are going to be providing the laptop. So we're calling out possible problems like, what if the boss is busy? Planning keeps everyone on the same page. So now that we know the goal, we write down exactly what the software must do. Next phase will be requirement and analysis. Requirements are the rules of the game. We're asking simple questions. What buttons and boxes do we need on the form? Who must approve this form? And what happens after approval? We're writing short user stories like, as an employee, I want to request a laptop so that I can start work quickly. So we're going to be adding clear checks like, if the employee fills out all the boxes and clicks the submit, then IT should get a request number and an email. The employee should also get a request number and an email showing that they submitted that request. So these simple rules help everyone build the right thing. So cool. We know what it should do. Next, let us sketch how it will look and move, which is going to be the solution design phase. Design is like drawing the blueprint for a house. We draw a simple flow, which is now in this case, employee requests the laptop, then the boss will approve it, then IT is going to provide the laptop for the employee. So we're going to sketch the form. The form needs to have a name, obviously, of the employee, their job role, which is the department it belongs to, which is they need to charge the cost center, right? So they need to have that department on the form. Then laptop model. So what model of laptop? Is it Dell? What series and all that stuff, right? And then the employee needs to also pick a date where they want to pick up the laptop, right? So we need to also note who we talk to for information like the HRO system to find the boss's name. So who is your boss? There has to be a drop down that shows different bosses in the organization, and then the employee can pick the name of their boss and say, this is my boss that's going to be approving this request, right? So we also need to think about what if moments. What if the laptop that the employee is requesting here is out of stock, the organization doesn't have it? And also, what if the employee submits the request and then the boss is saying, nope, you cannot get a laptop? Maybe you just got a laptop 3 months ago. So what happened to the one you just got 3 months ago? So these drawings and notes will help the builder know exactly what to make. So blueprint ready, which is awesome. Time to build it for real, which takes us to the build and development phase. Building is when coders make the screens and then the buttons work. Your job or my job as a business analyst is to keep things clear, answer questions fast, and make small choices when needed. So if someone asks, what if the boss doesn't answer the request in one day? We might say, if the boss doesn't answer the request in one day, send a reminder email on day one. The system should send a reminder email on day one and another on day two. Because, remember the goal is for us to get this laptop to the employee in 2 days instead of 5 days. So we need a change. We check how big it is and if it fits our time. So we also need to keep the plan tidy so that the team can move quickly. Because remember, the goal is to get this in 2 days, not our current state of 5 days. So now that we have the first version of the build, let's make sure that it works and that it works exactly the way that we want it to work. That takes us to testing. So when you build something, you need to test it and see if it works. So testing is like checking your homework before you turn it in because you do not want to fail that exam. You don't want to fail that test or you don't want to fail that homework. So you have to check, do all your checking, and before you turn it in. So we're going to be trying in this testing phase to normal cases and tricky cases. For example, when the employee fills out the form the right way, do we get a request number and an email? That's normal, right? It should be normal for us to get a request number and an email, right? Then try a pickup date that is too soon. Say, for example, the employee is putting in the date for yesterday, but meanwhile, they're submitting the form today. So that is a date that is too soon. Or the employee is our goal is for 2 days, and the employee is asking it to be picked up in one day. So that is too soon, which is a day before the day that is our goal here. So do we see any helpful message in the system that's, that would say, oh, this date is too soon? So real users also are going to be trying it and say if it feels right. So if we find a problem, then we can fix it and test it again. So when it passes the important checks, then we're ready to now share it. So this is a phase, testing and user acceptance. So great. The checks looks good. Let's roll it out and for real people to actually use it. Taking us to the release and deployment phase. The release and deployment phase. A smooth release is deliberate. Publish release notes in plain language, what is new, who is impacted, how to get help. Share job aids or a 2-minute video for employees and approvers to know exactly what to do and how to use this form, right? So build a cut over checklist like pre-checks, deploy steps, smoke tests, and a rollback plan. Exact triggers and the steps. Consider feature flags for a safe ramp up. Align help desk with facts. Facts which are frequently asked questions such as didn't get an email, then you check your spam. It might be in your spam most of the time when you don't get email in your inbox. If you check your spam, it's probably there. So, and then verify HR manager link, schedule a short go or no go just before deploy, then confirm UAT sign off. That means user acceptance testing sign off. Then defect status and monitoring is also should be ready. So go live isn't the end when you're releasing a software or deploying a software. It is actually the beginning of learning because things do go wrong after go live. There still has to be some maintenance and, improving that software. It all does not end after you release it. So let's close the loop with measurement and iteration. Maintenance and continuous improvement, like I mentioned, is the last phase, which is a 7th phase. After release, you have to always keep an eye on the software that has been released. Did we cut the wait from 5 days to about 2 days? Because 2 days was the goal, right? Remember in the beginning? Are people happy using this software? If we see a problem or a good idea, do we want to add it to the list and then improve this tool? Maybe we can add an urgent hire button, like this person was hired today and they need a laptop ASAP. Then we keep learning and making it better. That's why it's called a life circle. It is a circle and it keeps going and going and going. And that, my friends, is the SDLC, Software Development Life Cycle, in clear steps that turn an idea into real software people actually would love to use. So thank you again for joining me this week. And don't forget, like, share, comment, subscribe to my channel for beginner-friendly business analysis topics. And I'll see you again next week. It's your girl, Hilda, aka Hilda the Tech Bay. Thank you so much.